white liberals getting on here trying to school Black, Indigenous communities, marginalized groups of color about not voting for Joe Biden is so on brand. 55% of white women voted for Donald Trump in 2020. Up by 52% in 2016. White men, 61% voted for Donald Trump in 2020. Folks that identify as LGBTQ+, that number almost doubled from 15% to 30% for Donald Trump in 2020. Black, Indigenous communities of color have been consistent across all age groups and demographics. Do you know who's not consistent? We have always come at the expense of the liberal vote. Dr. King Jr. said that choosing between the Democrat and the Republican is like choosing whether you want to be devoured by the fox or the wolf. Now we're aware of 3 genocides, all being committed against Black and brown bodies with taxpayer dollars that won't give us student loan forgiveness. The GOP wants to cut EBT and SNAP benefits. And you're trying to fearmonger us into supporting a genocide to protect your white fragility and white comfortability when we warned you of this in 2016. And again, y'all showed the fuck up again, voting against your own interests. Y'all get on here every holiday season talking about how your racist ass family members are sitting across from you at Thanksgiving and how it's a joke to you and how y'all just take that shit when y'all need to be correcting it and fighting that shit at the dinner table, dropping facts and knowledge on them, making them aware that their politicians have lied to them and what their money's actually doing. You don't get to blame the 2024 election if it is given to Donald Trump on Indigenous, Black, brown, marginalized groups of color. The intersection of color. The intersection of color. The intersection of color. You're asking the group of people who have handed Democrats elections for the past 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 elections, giving them all the votes they had after they were being pandered to by Democratic and Republican fucking nominees who lied to you and to us. You're telling a group of people who are the descendants of genocide, the descendants of enslavement, Jim Crow laws, natural hair laws. You're telling me that as violence is still being committed against Black and brown bodies, you want me to blindly vote for someone who is a war criminal and hugged a war criminal because of Project 2025, like we aren't aware, like we didn't warn you back then and you didn't put in the work? You put in the footwork. You put in the footwork. Because as you were being silent about trans bathroom bans, as you were being silent about Roe v. Wade being overturned into the very last fucking minute when you went on March on Washington, when we were warning you about Amy Coney Barrett, we were warning you about him packing the Supreme Court, we were warning you about Joe Biden's history and how he did not have the full faith of our vote in 2016. You can lesser of two evils all of this all you want to, because our descendants, our ancestors, honey, we are come from a lineage of fighting for our lives and putting our lives down for these rights. The same blood that is on the American flag is on that LGBTQ plus one too, and it's Black and brown blood on it. We are trauma literate. We are trauma literate. And we have been taught to lay down our lives for the rights that you all take for granted. And our principles are not worth the expense of your comfortability. And our vote is not expendable. And y'all are about to find out. Y'all have work to do. And that's the post.